Chad, I can't believe it. It's 2022. It's here,
Sounds
man.
fun.
It's upon us. It's upon us. And I'm excited today because I have a special guest on the call. And Chad, I'm going to let you do a lot of the talking today. But one of the things that I want to say, dude, is just like, as you guys listen to this call today, I would take some notes. I would write some things down because the more that you learn, the more that you earn. And the man that you're going to hear from today, Chadwick Ray, you're going to hear from a guy who's not just, a husband, not just a father, not just a mentor, but an absolute powerhouse in the industry and has taught hundreds, if not, I want to say thousands of people how to do what we do. Extremely successful, income wise, family wise. I have a ton of respect for you, Chad, as as just a speaker, as someone that I listen to. You pour into people all the time. And if you would, Chad, if you could just tell people just a little bit more about yourself, about your experience, kind of where you came from, that would be awesome, man.
Absolutely. Well, before I even go into my story, I just got to say thank you for even having me on. I always feel very blessed, and accomplished, to be honest with you, anytime I have the opportunity to be able to speak to, the rest of the team, to be able to speak to the country. I have a major belief in where I believe we are headed, as a unit, and just being able to go out and even write business, with you all, to even be able to go out and be able to attract just one more person means a lot to me. This call here, the fact that you spend time doing it every single week, it's a tremendous amount of work, and you do it with a smile on your face, so I appreciate you for doing that. And, if you don't hear it enough, thank you, for running this call. It is not easy doing what you do behind the scenes and handling what you're doing right up front. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe on the leaderboards, you ended up being number 2 for the year. I will see what the final numbers are, but I believe you ended up being number 2. I know me and you were neck and neck, majority of the which, holds true to how it's been pretty much our entire career, which is pretty cool. My name is Chadwick, and, I'm grateful to be a part, of Legacy Partners Financial Network. I initially started in this industry a little over 13 years ago. I have a background in accounting. My mom, when I was growing up, she said, you need to go to school, you need to get some good grades, and eventually you'll get a good job. I'm sure that speech we all heard, when we were growing up. And I did what she told me to do. I went to school, I got some good grades. I want to say last week you got to hear, it didn't come without struggle, but I was able to make it out of college with good grades. 6 months before I graduated from college, I secured a job for the federal government working as an accountant. My job was basically to be an auditor to different departments of the federal government. But, I was the only income coming in. And even though it was a good government job, I still was struggling financially. All my student loans was coming in, and I said, can I defer it? And they said, okay. And then I said, can I defer it again? And they said, okay. Then I said, can I defer it? They said, no. I said, uh-oh. So I needed some extra income coming in. I started looking all over job boards, anywhere I could possibly find it. And I found on Craigslist, I don't even remember what the ad said, but it spoke to me, right? Because you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I was right. I was there for the picking. If if it would have been a Mary Kay ad, I guess I would have been selling lipstick. But when I found this, my accounting background kicked in, and I said, you know what? The way that these numbers work out, if I can ever get to a point where I'm going out and helping out a family or two a week part-time, this eventually will replace my income. And I was able to do that. My first year and a half, I was part-time. I went full-time after that, and I've never looked back since. A little bit about me.
Wow, that's crazy, man. So what would you say, from beginning to end? And I say end, we ain't at the end. We're in the beginning of the
We're just getting started.
We're just getting started, you know what I mean? So what has that how have you been successful, right? Because I remember being a brand new agent and seeing you just hit that 50,000 mark as a group, and I also heard numbers of like, Chad just wrote $36,000 of premium. And I'm like, he wrote it, like him? like one case. And I was like, what? It's like, I'd be like this with the notepad. Tell me what you know, man. And you did. You told me a lot of stuff, and I took it and I ran with it. So with you getting started, like as an insurance person, accounting background, family, you weren't versed in selling life insurance or sales at all, really, in general, is what it sounds like. So when you got started, what was your belief level, that this would work, and how much did you believe in the product that you were selling?
I would say for me, my belief level came in at me and my wife had been married for maybe a year and a half, about a year and a half. We had been married at this point. We actually got married my final year of college. I had gotten my 4 years in and I still had another year left. And I said, I need some motivation. So I got married. He motivated me. But I remember when I first came on board, all I could think was, well, as far as being able to validate a model, I need life insurance. At this point, me and my wife had our first child, and I had been working my job for maybe 4 months. And then I found out about this. And all I could think was, I only have life insurance through my job. And the more I started to learn about the industry in general, all I could think was, one times my salary is not enough. I was making 45 grand, as an accountant. So even though I was my mama was happy that I had that good government job, but I'm living in an area, where 45 grand is just enough to be dead broke, just enough to be behind every single month, just enough to have to struggle with, am I going to pay the light bill? Am I going to pay the water bill? So the writing was on the wall, but all I could think was, this is something that I definitely need. I see the commercials on TV 24/7. When I looked into the amount of time that a lot of these companies have been around, it was over 100 years. And when I found out that they were paying me, and not, Tim John, it wasn't Tim John that was paying me, and the likelihood that he could run his business well, or this manager wasn't paying me, it was the actual insurance companies. It was companies like Foresters or Mutual of Omaha. Back in the day, I think it was only 2 companies that I had even knew of that were available at the time, and it was Foresters and it was Old Mutual Financial Network. So all I could think was, number one, I need it, and then number two, as I started to learn about the different things that some of these companies did behind the scenes, it just made sense to me. So that was one, as far as the industry. And then number two, as far as the ability to go out and make money, I went to one meeting, back in the day, I'm sure Zoom existed, but we weren't using it. We had to actually physically go to a meeting. I remember I had to drive 3 hours to go to the first time I ever went to a meeting. This is before, I was licensed or anything like that. I just wanted to know if it was real. So I drove those 3 hours just with anticipation, like, so far what I've heard, I'm excited about. If these people are the real deal, I'm going all in. I went to a meeting and I got to see people standing up there talking about their experience. And then they said, stand up, if you've ever made, more than $10,000 in a month. And I saw several people in a small room stand up. And I'm like, what? Y'all making 6 figures like that? They was like, keep standing if you made 6 figures. Everybody that was there that had been there for any amount of real time, they were standing up. And all I could think was, all right, if in my industry, at my job, working for the government, if we said stand up, like if you made more than $10,000 in a month, I think the only people that would have been standing up, were the people that actually started the company, to work as an accounting firm. I know what everybody else was making, and it was nowhere close to that. All I could think to myself was, I need to make money and I need to make it now. I don't want to have to do this job for 15 years before I am to that mark, because I already know my bills are going to go up along with it. I'm going to struggle my whole life. I need money now. So once I went there, then my belief level went up for the actual system that I have people around me that if I personally go out and seek the knowledge out, I'll learn what I need to learn to be one of those people that's standing up. And then the very last thing that I needed was some get up and go, so I got up and I went and I started doing the very things that some of the leaders in the industry were doing. And I was maybe 7 days in and I was already knocking out, helping out my first person with my first policy. And there wasn't a week that went by after that that I wasn't helping out one, if not more people.
That's awesome, man. So really it was, you believe that the industry was what the industry is, right? It's been around forever. It's reliable. They've paid out millions, billions of dollars in claims. Like, you know, that part of it's real. If these people are making some money, I'm in too. And you found out very quickly that the money was real too, right? That was me. The first time I got a paycheck, I was like, thank you. I'm in, man. Like, thank you, you know, and I didn't know anything. So, all right, so let's talk about this, because I think this is a big deal. Have you ever had, because I know you're a power producer, you also have power producers, you have great people on your team, you've had great producers over the years. Do you believe, what's your thoughts on, you know, if you want to be a top producer, do you feel like you need to have life insurance? And then, like, have you ever had people in your group that just said they don't want to have life insurance, and then they try to, like, they don't want to buy insurance, like they don't believe in having it for them, that have tried, like, have you ever dealt with those kind of situations? What's your thoughts on, like, if I'm an agent and I'm brand new and I'm getting started, you know, if I'm single, if I have a family, do I need insurance, and how does that help me with my belief as I move on?
Absolutely. You know, I think I'm going to start by, I should have ended the last part of my talk a little bit better, just to give some people some hope. Because when I say week one, I was helping people, a lot of people will take that and they'll hear, man, he was a beast right out the gate. No, you know, if you want to call me a beast now, okay, but I was not. You know, I had to go through a learning curve just like everyone else. I went to my first appointment. They didn't buy anything. I went to my second appointment. They didn't buy anything. I went to my third appointment. They didn't buy anything. I went to my fourth appointment. They didn't buy anything. I went to my fifth appointment. They didn't buy anything. I went to my sixth appointment. They didn't buy anything. I went to my seventh appointment and they didn't. They did buy something.
My heart's hurting at this point for you, man.
That's how I felt. On my seventh appointment, I was like, they're not going to buy anything either. It was like, yeah, I'm going to get that one. And I was like, wait, what? You said what now? You said you're going to get something? And he was like, yeah. I was like, Tyrone, you the man. I got to charge back on that policy.
Yeah, I bet.
When it rains, it pours. But I'm going to tell you, Paul, this actually, your question is a perfect one, because the reason that I still have my belief extremely high was because the very first thing I did when I found out about this deal was I got a policy for myself. All I could think to myself was, why in the world, you know, would I go out and try to tell everyone else how important that this is, and I haven't even taken care of my own family? It just doesn't make sense. Once I did that, that's really all I needed. I know the industry makes money. I know that there's people in the industry that make money, and I'm connected to it. I can go and ask them questions. Number three, do I have the belief, you know, that I can go out and do this? Well, if I have a policy, I sold myself, you know, so these other people can be sold too. I'm just going to learn the same thing. But I will say this, if I didn't have a policy for myself, I know for a fact I wouldn't have believed in it as much. You know, how in the world am I going to tell someone else how great something is that I've never partaken in? How are you going to tell someone else, ooh, her banana pudding? Man, she's got the best banana pudding this side of the Mason-Dixon if you've never tried her banana pudding. I'm not going to start calling you names, but you know what you are. You know what you are. Don't do that to people. So yes, I think having a policy is extremely important.
Dude, I have personally seen, and you know, when we have this conversation, I know we always run the risk of someone going, well, they're just trying to sell me something. Like, no, like, I don't want your family to call and say, hey, Bob died. Did he have any insurance? Well, he was an insurance agent. Didn't he have insurance with you? No, Bob didn't think about that. Bob didn't care enough to do that. Like, I know that I was like you, Chad. I was scared to death that if I died, they weren't going to have enough money, right? I'm hoping to live a while, but I was scared of it, right? And I know that if I can internalize that, it's easier to have that passion with the client. And I don't know about you. I remember my first application, man, for me, it was $40 a month. And that was a stretch at 22 years old. Like, for me, $40 a month, I was like, what? I don't know, man. Like money back.
Something responsible.
Huh?
I said, that much money, it's like, oh my God, I got to be responsible.
Yeah, like it was scary, man. So like as we talk about this, like it can be, you know, a $12 or $20 a month policy. It can be a $200 or $1,000 a month policy. It's just whatever makes sense to you, right? It's kind of making sure like whatever, like if you're thinking, if you're an agent, you're like, what do I need? Ask someone to help you with it. Like ask someone to walk through it with you. I had someone walk through it with me. I didn't decide on my own. I didn't know it. I didn't even know. I don't know. They showed me some options. I picked the one that I thought I could afford. And luckily we haven't had to cash it in yet, you know, so that's been pretty good. Have you ever had agents, Ray, Chadwick, that you like that, like once they bought insurance on themselves, their production went up? Have you ever seen that before?
Yes. I'll tell you this, 2021, 2022, on our end, it's a very big deal with us. Every now and again, I'll have people that'll ask me, so are you saying that I need to get an insurance policy, to be able to work? And I say, well, to be very frank, do you have to have an insurance policy to work in the industry? No. Do you have to have an insurance policy to work with different insurance carriers? No. But do you need an insurance policy to work with me? Yes. We did it for years, but we didn't care whether people got a policy or not. And what I learned was the people that don't have an insurance policy, they felt like they had to go out and be a salesperson. By and large, I've read enough books to know that the average person does not think that they could sell, right? So if we're trying to get people to do something that they don't think that they can do, we're going to have an uphill battle, right? Because it's hard to kiss a girl if they're leaning away from you, right? That's very difficult. It's hard to climb up a fence that's leaning towards you. It's very difficult to do that, right? And it's very hard to help someone that doesn't want to be helped, right? You're going to have to try to sell them. And on my end, I learned that I had my feel, FILL. I had my feel of being someone that was going to have to try to talk people into doing something that they don't want to do. So my thought process is I would rather spend as much time as I can helping the people that are saying, please help me. No, I 100%, believe in this. I believe that everyone else should know about this same thing. So we always tell them, all right, well, then make sure that your family is good to go. Change your buying and your spending habits. Like if you have no money, to be able to spend $40 on an insurance policy, there's one of two things that's going on, and both of them is you need to make a change. But yes, for a long time, we didn't care. Those people typically didn't do too well. The people that believed in it wholeheartedly, those are the people that said, I don't even feel like I'm selling. I'm just going out and spreading the word. I'm going out and letting people know, what it is. I'm going out and I'm telling them, you need to protect your family. I believe in this. You should too. Matter of fact, I have a policy myself. If you can't speak with that kind of conviction, it's going to be very difficult, to do anything other than be a transactional, salesperson. And that it can be a short-lived career. You want to be in this thing for the long term. You want to make the real money. You want to build the real relationships. When you walk in a room, they need to know that person's the real deal. And that starts from somewhere. Generally it's going to start from you being an actual client yourself, and you actually eating your own cooking.
I love that. And you're right, man. It's like, how do we believe more? Like if we can't convince ourselves that it's a good thing, how are we going to convince somebody else that it's a good thing? You're selling something you don't believe in, man. I love Subarus. If you hate Subarus, you should not work at Subaru selling Subarus. Like you hate Subarus. Why would you do that? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like, so if you're going to be involved in something, it's like, how can you get passionate about it is really just believing in it and knowing that you need it, right? Knowing that it's important and then passing that on. And what I've seen, Chad, I don't know about you, is over time for me, I've started to realize I need this other program. I need this other thing over here. I see the need in it. What I have noticed is the higher producers typically spend more money on insurance because they invest more in what they believe in. And when they speak, it's like you said, it's the real deal coming out like, hey, this is the real deal. This is what I believe in it. Like you should too. You're not saying those words, but that's the feeling that you're getting across, right?
That's a great point. Mm-hmm. And if I can, I want to jump in on your Subaru example. Like if I'm working at Subaru, if I'm the person that's like, well, Subarus are all right, but they're really good for you though, well, how much do you tell me? Do you really like Subaru? Well, Subaru, that person, do you believe they're going to be as successful as a person that says, Subaru, bruh, I freaking love Subaru. Subaru, have you seen their tires? Yeah, I own a Subaru. In fact, I've owned a Subaru for some time now. Let me show you these gadgets. Let me show you that 5-star safety rating. Like there is nobody that has a safety rating like Subaru. That's why I have Subaru. That's why you should have a Subaru if you care. If you care about this kind of thing. Who do you think is going to have the most success? And I'm not even, that's a rhetorical question. Who do you think is going to have the most success? So if you say, well, I want to have mediocre success, then be mediocre. But what I want you to do is, as a businessman, a businesswoman, I just want you to survey your results. I want you to look at, the cause and the effect. I want you to look at the action and the reaction, because as a business person, if you really want to run it like a business, those are important. We have to take our emotion out just for a second and say, as a smart business move, what makes the most sense? And that makes a lot of sense if you want to be extremely successful at it.
Absolutely, man. And I love it when a client goes, well, I haven't heard of that company. Is that a good one? Oh yeah. I have my mom's policy through that company, or I haven't heard of that company before. Is that a good one? Yeah, I actually have, I have that same plan. I just have this one. It's very powerful to come back and like, you can't shake someone off that can't be shooken. You know what I mean? You got full belief in those companies when you're, and it helps. It just really does, I've heard of agents where they'll ride around with their policies, and when somebody asks it, they'll pull them out and show them here's mine, stack about that big. Here's one of mine. Here's another one of mine. So, yeah, man, I love that. And I think you said something about spreading awareness. There were some words that you used there, some verbiage that you used there. So as we believe in what we're doing, and as we get out there and we protect our families, ourselves and our immediate families, the people we care about, how do you spread awareness? How do you get referrals? What's a way that you kind of get out there and talk to more people about what it is that you're passionate about, Chad?
So I believe whatever it is that you do, right? And this was taught to me again, I got a policy and I start saying, who's making money? And then I would just pick up nuggets from things that they would say. So there's one person I can think of right now. He's a much, much older man. And he said, Chadwick, passion is everything. He said, I don't care what it is. If you present that steak, the steak that everybody's going to love and it's going to taste so good, if you present it on a trash can lid, nobody's going to want to eat it because it doesn't look too appetizing. Another thing that another person said, and I picked it up years ago, is they said, if you light yourself on fire, people will come around just to watch you burn. Okay. And I don't care if you're selling meat, or, if you're selling caravans, like whatever it is, that you are selling, if you are just passionate about it, it's going to be hard, for it to be contained. Like we are living in a world where most people die in their 20s and their 30s. It just takes another 40, 50 years to bury them. They are living lives of quiet desperation. Like they want something to get excited about. And if you are the person that's excited about your craft, normally they're going to want to help spread that message along. They're going to say, you want to know one of the best examples that I can think of that I've seen over the years? There's this guy named Paul, and I remember several years ago, the passion that he had, for insurance. He would freaking just walk from this door to that door to over here. And he'd walk up to him and he'd say, what do you think about insurance? You're going to die. So what you going to buy? Like he used to say like crazy one-liners, but because he was so passionate about it, he's like, listen, I'm just a friendly insurance man, just like Spider-Man. I'm just a friendly insurance man. And I think everybody should have this. What do you think? What are your thoughts on it? Because he was so bold, what I used to hear him come back and tell me all the time is, this person referred me to this person and they referred me to that one. And then they referred me to this one over here. I think if you have absolutely no referrals going on, you gotta hike up your passion just a little bit. You got to care just a little bit more. Well, how can I show that I care? Does that mean I got to yell at them? Do I got to be an extrovert? No, whether you know it or not, I'm a learned extrovert. I'm an introvert, But when I say passion, you have to, and do you care? You have to ask the extra questions. Once you've helped them out with what you helped them out with, I need you to understand people buy insurance generally 7 times in their lifetime. If they have gotten to the point where they are buying their insurance through you, not only are they going to buy it again and again and again, but every person that surrounds them is going to do the same thing. You just have to be bold enough to not run up out of there as soon as you take care of them. Ask a couple of extra questions. Okay, now that we've got you taken care of, before I leave, do you want to go ahead and get your kids taken care of? Like it's going to be pennies on the dollar in comparison to where it's going to be down the road. And matter of fact, is there anybody else? I know you said that you have how many sisters? You have how many brothers? Are all of them taken care of? Because normally when I help out one person, it's just a matter of time, but I'm probably going to end up being the insurance agent for every person in your family. That's normally how it works. So right out the gate, who do you know that needs help? I might as well get everybody taken care of at the same time. It's simply putting it out there. That's not a script, like it's just thinking, being aware of your surroundings. My mom used to tell me all the time growing up, she said, if you are sitting in a building, don't be quick to go and sit with your back to the door. Why? Because I want you to be aware of your surroundings. I want you to see if somebody comes in, just pay attention to what's around you. Sometimes we are so focused on made the sale, commissions coming, that we walk right over top of dollars to pick up pennies, right? Because if you were to slow down just a little bit more, you would realize it's not one policy that was needed in their array of influence. It was 13 policies that were needed, and 2 of those people needed retirement help. So where you made $300, you could have made 13,000 if you just slowed down a little bit. Right? It doesn't always happen. It is way harder to go out and get a new sale than it is to preserve the one that you already have and blossom it and grow it.
You brought back some thoughts on that, man. And I was thinking when you said people will step over dollars to pick up pennies, and I think about being in an appointment and you're running behind and you got to get to that next appointment, right? And you're like, all right, I gotta go. You rush out of here. And you go to that next appointment, you know what happens 99% of the time? They ain't there. They ain't there, man. And you rushed out and you didn't get the referrals. You didn't take the time. And like, you're right on track, man, because dude, if I'm helping you out and we connected, and I'm passionate about what I do, right? Why wouldn't I connect with other people from you, right? I'm passionate about what I do. Why wouldn't I connect, right? Because if I'm passionate and I think about it, and I care about it, I'm going to ask the questions. It doesn't have to be a script. It's very matter of fact or assumptive. Like, typically I help everybody out. Like that is typical. Like, you the whole family, and you met with them individually, or you met with them at a group sometimes. And it's right on, man. And I really do appreciate you taking the time today, Chad. Your passion for the industry is outstanding. And I'm very excited about where we're headed as a team with Legacy, and the opportunity that we have is massive. We're going to wrap it up. I know you said you got a call right at 1:30. Did you have any parting words or anything else you'd like to add before we end the call, Chad?
I think I'll end it in saying, I want to end it where we ended it last time. Okay. We are already, 4 days in, to the new year, and it happened like that, literally just like, I feel like it was yesterday and the ball was dropping. It is going to be very easy, for that to be the end of this month, to be the end of this quarter, to be the end of the year all over again. Just a week ago, didn't you kind of feel like, where did the time go? This was a rough year, for the world, right? This is a rough couple of years for the world, but also in that we're multi-layered people, right? We have layers. And there's a layer in us that was like, how in the world is it already the end of the year? How is that possible? I just want to tell you, time is speeding up, okay? So the habits that you are growing right now are monumental, okay? The intention and the expectation that you are growing right now, monumental. You need to be writing down what it is that you want and then contacting the people that you think can help get you there. And then when they give you that nugget or two, you got to take it and do that very thing. Thank you, Paul, for having me on again. You are the man, best host that I've seen in a very, very, very long time. You're the man when it comes to this. So thank you for letting me be on.
I appreciate you, man. And with that said, we're going to wrap up the call, and we will see you guys again next time. Y'all take care.